Hi, I'm Cassandra Vohs-Demann, and this is the A Place to Shine podcast. Let's do this.
Well, all I can say, all I can say, well, all I can say is here I am, yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is the A Place to Shine podcast. I'm so excited that you've tuned in for my second episode of this brand new endeavor. Thanks so much to everyone who has listened to the first episode. I cannot tell you what your support means to me. And I've had many people reach out to me with nothing but wonderful comments, and that the first episode has already made a difference to them. And that is humbling to me and incredibly motivating, and I'm excited to continue with this episode. Today, I want to talk a little bit about change. Sometimes change happens to us by choice. Sometimes change happens to us and it's out of our control. And in my first episode, I talked a lot about being in a transition personally and professionally. I also have several friends and clients and colleagues that are currently navigating through all kinds of changes in their own lives. Many have expressed to me that what they were doing before or how they were operating before is no longer bringing them the same satisfaction as it once did. I mentioned this in episode 1 when I said that I had lost my passion for a lot of things for a while, and that has been a journey for me to come back from that. People around me are making a lot of sometimes small changes. Some of them are making really big changes in their lives because whatever they've been doing isn't working for them anymore. And I think we're in a time of change and a time of rebirth, as I had said in episode 1. But knowing something is not working and knowing the steps to take to move forward can feel overwhelming and confusing and downright hard. And for me, I don't know about you, but sometimes just leaving the house can feel like a lot lately. And my life has always been about building things. I have always been excited about possibility and the possibilities that exist in just about everything, whether it be my students or clients or producing an event or, doing a gig or writing a story or a song or recording or even redecorating my house. Those things always used to really excite me. I would get excited about anything. I'd see a building and I'd want to do something with it. I could see what things could be. But in the last few years, much of that excitement has turned into more feelings of stress. And I keep saying it is good stress because I'm supposed to be doing things that I love, but the effort to do them seems to wear me out much more quickly these days. Now, I will be very transparent in saying that ever since I had COVID in early 2022, I've struggled with fatigue and brain fog and anxiety that has made much of the work that I do more challenging. I forget things more. Sometimes when I speak, the wrong word comes out. I've called people the wrong name that I've known for years. Or I lose my place easily as I'm working on projects or if I'm in a rehearsal, especially when I've been put on the spot and I can't quite grab the information that I need quickly. I forget lyrics sometimes. So I've had to adjust. I've had to put lyrics in front of me sometimes at gigs. I've had to just ask people to just give me a second so that I can regroup. And that has been challenging. If I work too long or I have too much stress, it tends to get worse. I have had to learn to restructure how I plan my schedule and be very mindful of balancing rest and quiet with time to work. I could look at this as negative in my life, and in the beginning I did, but I have begun to make friends with this new version of myself. I am optimistic that I'll continue to improve, but the reality is this is who I am today. I can spend my time trying to figure out ways to get back to the way I was before, or I can evolve with this new way of being. I can listen to my body and give it what it needs in the moment. And in many cases, especially now, what it needs is rest. So this does not mean that I don't continue to juggle all the wonderful things I get to do in my life, but it does mean I have to learn to do it at a slower pace and listen to myself so I can have the energy to do them and actually enjoy them. I say that because there was a time where I was feeling so overwhelmed because I was doing so much, all things that people would see from the outside as wonderful, things that are exciting and cool and very creative. But I was so busy doing all the things that I didn't always allow myself to have fun, allow myself to enjoy the process, allow myself to take some pressure off and just kind of settle in and try to enjoy myself. I started to think that maybe not being so busy, or at least not as busy as I was, could be a good thing. Maybe sitting on my deck and staring at the trees is 100% necessary for my well-being. Maybe quieting my mind for 30 minutes between clients helps me show up with more focus and energy. And I've learned that I probably should have been doing more of that all along. I was doing some of that before, but I really don't think I was doing it enough. Facing this present version of myself has completely shaken my confidence in ways I had not anticipated. And a lot of the work that I do with people is around confidence, around how they show up for themselves, around how they, feel like they can show up in all the different scenarios in their lives. And I'm a textbook overachiever. So when I was in school, I was the kind of student who did extra credit if I had an A-. And I could manage 10 projects simultaneously and crank out massive amounts of work in a short time. Well, I can't do that anymore. I can still be productive in the ways I want to be, but I'm so much more mindful now than I was before. I keep my brain focused on one thing at a time as much as possible. One step at a time, one choice at a time. I have grieved the old version of me. I have learned to stop apologizing for not being as on as I was before. But sometimes it's still hard. And I have found that if I'm honest and transparent and vulnerable in letting people know where I'm at, things tend to go a lot better. And I find that I can operate more relaxed because I've been transparent. I could come into a rehearsal and just say, I'm a rough day today. My brain's a little tired. So bear with me if it seems like I'm getting off track or whatever. If I'm very open about that, I find that people are incredibly supportive and they show up for me. And that's been an amazing thing to learn. But even if I didn't have long COVID, I think the changes would still have been necessary. As I said in my first episode, there was no way I could keep up the pace I had before. It was not sustainable. Being forced to slow down the way I have and pay more attention when my brain says rest has been a valuable lesson for me. In my coaching, I've always said you can't give if your well is empty. If we don't have anything to give, then it's really difficult to give freely and with an open heart. I thought before that I was balancing things pretty well, but looking back, I see now that I tended to push myself until my filing cabinet was overflowing. My husband, Phil, used that analogy with me once and it stuck, and I would just keep stuffing more files in the cabinet instead of dealing with them as they got handed to me. Eventually, I would get so tapped that the whole darn thing would explode all over the floor, and then I would have quite the mess to clean up. I would find myself feeling angry and frustrated, overwhelmed and exhausted, and that was not fun. Another way my husband can tell when my life gets crazy, my closet becomes a complete disaster. My inner life is reflected in the state of my closet. Once I get right with myself, I can face my closet and my life, and suddenly everything feels more manageable. Life is always changing. The reality we know today might look completely different tomorrow. We've all learned that. It is my hope that you will be kind to yourself no matter what you are going through. Take the time to listen to your brain, look at the trees, and move forward one step and one choice at a time. A few months ago, I was doing a writing session with a friend where we would get together and just write for an hour. And this poem came out for me. I haven't really given it a title yet. If you have a title idea, let me know. But I want to read it to you. So here we go. Just yesterday, I noticed a bird had lost her way. She'd been flying round in circles just to fill the day. She didn't really notice the flowers all around. She didn't pay attention to any nearby sounds. But suddenly the ground became too close upon her swoop. She woke up from her daze and started to regroup. And as she looked around, the horizon she did see. She'd been spinning round so long, she'd forgotten how to breathe. Now with a renewed purpose, the sunrise now her guide, she flew with clear intention to the heavens she would climb. I leave you with this song that I wrote several years ago called Hold On. And I wrote it in a really peaceful place on the back deck, listening to the river with the sun shining on my face. And I hope it brings you the same kind of peace that it does for me. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for listening.
A world away from all that I know. The river runs fast as the cool wind blows, and the sun paints my face with a pale yellow glow. There's something about this place that gives me something to hold. Get me through another dawn as the birds sing away. Sounds like a tune that I know. Is there something I should say? Is there someplace I need to go? They've been talking to my heart. They've been playing with my mind. Fall apart, and I don't want to waste my time. So give me something to hold on to when my heart gets tired. the dawn to get me through and bring me home.